Here's what's happening in Dallas, Texas, and today we are talking about the Dallas North Tollway, which is an absolute mess if you travel anywhere north of Frisco right now, and actually in Frisco on top of that with the Universal Kids Resort going into place. They are starting heavy construction on that right now and widening the Dallas North Tollway, and it ends in Celina, but now they're starting to expand that as well. So that's what we're covering today. Also a couple of articles. There's a new massive development, actually a couple of massive developments off of the tollway in Celina we're going to cover, and also the refinance market. What's happening right now? We see it on the rise, and then what does this mean for you as a Celina homeowner with all of that construction happening in that area right now as well, because you're sitting on a lot of equity depending on when you bought, and we're going to cover that. So let's go on site and see what's happening on the tollway. I'm in Celina, about 40 miles north of Dallas, and standing not too far off the Dallas Parkway extension, which will be actually in progress right now. Now there's several developments taking place here in this stretch between Celina and Frisco, such as a new hospital, the massive new community and extension of the tollway. And my name is Levi Lascsak with the Living in Dallas, Texas team, and let's talk about this massive expansion project of the tollway first. We'll get to the new community that's right behind me. The D&T expansion is going to be a huge deal and has been in the works for a few years now. And this project will triple the number of lanes offered through Prosper and Celina, which are two of the fastest growing communities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Prosper with its high quality schools and family friendly environment, and then you have Celina, known for its small town charm and community oriented atmosphere, are seeing rapid development. And this completion date for the project is set for 2028, and it comes within a budget of about $460 million. And that's nearly $500 million invested into making the commute a lot smoother. The extension will add 6 miles of main lanes stretching north from US 380 to FM 28 in Celina. This means more accessibility and less congestion on the roads. Additionally, new overpasses will be constructed at key points, including First Street, Prosper Trail, and Frontier Parkway. Now let's move on to this massive development that's right behind me called Legacy Hills. Now this development is a major new community in Celina and is scheduled to open in fall of 2024. This 3,200 acre project, which is located off of the Dallas Parkway, will include a clubhouse with a restaurant and bar, sports courts, a pool, walking and biking trails, an 18-hole golf course, and the $4.5 billion mixed-use development plans to feature 7,000 single-family homes, 4,000 multifamily units, 366 acres for mixed-use development, also 100 acres of commercial property, and Celina's first private country club, the 1876 Country Club. The first 2,000 homes were delivered in February of last year, and the $16.6 million golf course is expected to open in late 2024, early 2025. Now, there are several builders for each of their subdivisions, one of which is Union Main Homes. The model is 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and starts at $520,000, although some builders have homes available for as low as the mid-400s. Now, healthcare is also getting another boost here in Celina with the upcoming Methodist Celina Medical Center, located at the southeast corner of Dallas Parkway and FM 428. This $237 million medical center will be over 200,000 square feet and is slated to open in 2025. Now, moving on to another significant development is going to be called Praedera. Now, this is another massive development coming into Celina, and it's going to be around 35 acres in size and is expected to take around 20 years to complete, although shops are expected to open as early as next year. Now, one of the additions to Praedera construction site is the Harali Fresh Market, which is scheduled to open in December of 2025. And currently the only other Harali Fresh Market location is in Frisco, so this will also be a welcome addition to Celina. And as we look further south towards Frisco, the developments continue to impress. A new Baylor Scott and White Hospital is being built in Frisco. Now, on the western side of the tollway, you'll find Fields Frisco, the massive development that includes a PGA golf course and the Universal Kids Resort that will be coming soon, and thousands of homes. All right, that Legacy Hills community is going to be absolutely massive and a game changer for that whole area. Now, let's take a look at this. This recent article just came out about mortgage refinancing rises among DFW homeowners kept down by high interest rates. So let's see here. North Texas outpaces the state and national average for refinancing activity. Now, this is something that we've talked about many times before, is that I bought last year in 2023 in the dip. And so I knew, even though rates were 7.5%, I did a 2-1 buy down. You can even do a 3-2-1 buy down. And if you don't know what that is, that simply means I buy down the points on the interest rate by 2 points for the first year and by 1 point the second year, and then it goes back to normal. So last year, even though it was 7.5% interest rates, because I did the 2-point buy down, that gave me a 5.5% interest rate for last year. Now that expired. It's now 6.5%, which is still lower than what they're currently at right now. Currently they're sitting at about 6.7, 6.8, and I was hoping they would come down into the 5s, but that doesn't look like it's happening until now. The Fed just recently said that they might do a rate cut in September, 2 months before the election, and they might do another one shortly after. So, and they are talking about bringing that down in the 5% range. And if that happens, we know a lot of people are going to come back into the market. So I did buy at the low point of the winter season, so I got lucky on that. Well, not really luck. I was kind of hoping for that, and it just worked out that way. So yeah, a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill. So, on top of that, my rate's at 6.5% right now. Not ideal, but still lower than what's on the market. And that's something that right now, as a buyer, you have the opportunity to negotiate and also get concessions, whether that's from homeowners or from new construction. Both are willing to negotiate right now. And we highly recommend doing these 2-1 buy downs at least, because that's going to get us into territory that we should be in the 5s within the next 2 years. I mean, it should happen. I can't guarantee that, but that's what we're looking at. But we'll see here in this article, what's happening is that refinancing loans seen in DFW in the first quarter were 22.9% increase. So why are people refinancing right now? Well, if we go back down a little bit, it's a lot of people from last year. So it looks like they also bought around 7.2% interest rates. And even whenever the rates coming down to 6.7, they're finding that as an ideal time to refinance. Now, I would go ahead and wait a little bit more, because you do have to factor in closing costs or fees, or just depending on the mortgage company that you work with, then it does depend on if that is even worth it. But for 0.5%, I mean, I would wait on that. I'm looking for something much more drastic, at least probably 2 points. I mean, I would like to get down in the 5s again before I refinance my property, but I want to be able to do that hopefully within the next year as well. Now, when I bought my other house before this one in 2019, my interest rate was 5%, and at the time that was a deal. That was a steal. We had never seen interest rates at 5%, and so at that time it was like, man, great idea. And now here we're in the 6.7s, and people are willing to refinance to that. And again, but if you're in the 7% range on your interest rate, I would probably hold off. That's what I would do. No, so in here you can see here fall refinancing activity in the past 3 years due to a lack of housing supply seen both locally and nationally. And of course, we know that we're in an inventory shortage here in the Dallas market and also nationally. Actually, there was an article that came out in Zillow, by the way, and the housing shortage was about 4.3 million in the nation, and that even increased to 4.5 million just within the last year. I think a lot of that is due to West Coast and East Coast, where they have very strict building restrictions. And so permitting for new construction, there's just not enough pre-existing inventory on the market. So that's why the builders are, building a lot here in the Dallas, Texas area, because pre-existing inventory is sitting. Not a lot of people are looking to buy that right now. So it's just something to keep in mind. Now, also we look in here, elevated interest rates are shaping the housing market in a number of ways, contributing to lock-in effect that has many would-be sellers staying put and limiting inventory, which is one factor contributing. So think about this. Homeowners right now are sitting at, if you refinance, actually my other house is at a 2.75% because I refinanced in 2021 or 2022, whenever it was, when rates were that low. So do I want to sell that property? No. But if you're in a situation where you have to move, or you need to move, or you need to upgrade or downgrade, or whatever the case may be, and you're waiting for interest rates to come down so you can buy, I caution you on that, because right now prices are very close, if not all-time highs, depending on the area you're in. And if rates come down, people are going to come back into the market. Will that drive your price up on your house? Likely, but also when you turn around to try to buy, then you're going to be paying a much higher price. And if you get into bidding wars like we saw in 2022, multiple offers, you can end up overpaying on a house by 25, 50, 75, 100,000. We've seen that before. And if rates come down in the fives, that could happen again. So yes, maybe you sell a little bit more, but you might end up washing that out on the buy side. So now you might have that opportunity to where if you sell now, you're still hitting peak pricing. And actually, I'm going to show you right now, especially in the Celina area, the amount of equity you're sitting on. And actually, let me get to that real quick, and let me cover one more article as well. Actually, the same developers of Legacy Hills just acquired another 241 acres in Celina for another single family development in with D.R. Horton. So you can see here, Celina, now the fastest growing suburb in Dallas-Fort Worth, and 750 single family home lots and a 10-acre community park right there in Celina. So you can see they're adding this to it. Of course, they're developing right now that Legacy Hills that we just talked about, 3,200 acre master plan community, and Ramble 1,300 acre project. And so you can see here, Celina, fastest growing city, population grew by 26%. All right, so think about that, because remember, Celina's permitted for almost 400,000 residents. I think about 378,000 people, which is almost twice the size of Frisco. So if you think Frisco's hustling and bustling right now, double that, and you're going to have Celina in the next 10 to 20 years. And if you ever heard your parents say, I wish I would have bought back then or 20 years ago, that's the scenario right now happening in Celina. So now let's take a look at Celina. And let's say you bought in July, let's go here, July of 2019. The median home price was $390,000 at that time in Celina. Now let's compare that to July now of $685,000. Okay, so that is that's a $295,000 in equity that the average homeowner is sitting on in Celina, depending on when and where you bought. Like I said, that's if you bought in 2019, okay, pre-2020, and you've been holding for this time. You likely have increased the value of your home 56%, could be. Now, if you want to know for sure, check the description. You can get a free home evaluation, no cost, just to give you an approximate number to see how much equity you may be sitting on. Now, if you're in that area, there's new construction communities all popping up all over the place in Celina. So you may be thinking, why should I sell now? Well, you might be able to find something, depending on what you're looking for, upgrading or downgrading, in a new construction community that is offering some significant incentives, offering some rate buy downs. All those opportunities are coming into play. And so if you're able to sell, and on average, if you're sitting on almost $300,000 in equity, that's a pretty significant amount that you could easily put a nice down payment on. You could probably still get concessions from the seller or the builder to pay down a lot of things, pay for closing costs, pay for rate buy downs. All of that is definitely negotiable. But don't ever go straight to the builder. Make sure you reach out to us if that's what you plan on doing. But ideally right now, it's about selling your property. You want to make sure that you are priced correctly and you're not too aggressive on that. It sells quickly, and then you have a place to go. And Celina does have a lot of new communities popping up right now. Of course, they are going to be drastically building a lot of those over the next several years, of course, especially to take on that population growth. Remember, we're around 30 to 40,000 people in Celina at the time, and permitted for about 378,000. So that is a big deal. All right, so that should really give you up to date what's happening in Celina. And as a homeowner there, yeah, you should be sitting pretty, especially if you bought within the last couple of years. I mean, even if you bought 2021, 510 to $685,000, you're still looking at $175,000 in equity on average. So that's pretty significant. You know, now if you bought even in 2022, you're probably flat. Okay, so again, if you bought pre-2022, you're probably in a really good position, especially whenever it comes to equity. And you have to think about all the market factors that come into play. Yes, lots to consider, but you know, that's why we're here to help, of course. So again, if you want to know what the equity is on your home, make sure you check out the free evaluation in the description. And if you haven't checked out the full update on Prosper Schools, you should definitely check that out, because that is going to give you an insight on what's happening there in Prosper as well. And we look forward to seeing you on the next video.